From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's Wash Talk.
Welcome to the Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, our guest is Mel Ohlinger from OhmCo. Welcome, Mel.
Hi.
Well, we're really excited to have you here today. I kind of want to ask you a hard question right off the bat, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
You know, because I don't have the opportunity to have somebody with all the tech experience that you do in here that frequently. And so from a techie nerd's perspective, what can an in-bay automatic car wash do to compete with these larger chains?
This is a question that comes up all the time. We have some super obvious ones. One of them is that they're 24-hour. They can be 24-hour. Low staff. Cost of equipment is lower. So as far as ROI goes, it's easier to get your money back from what you've invested. Mm-hmm. But what we've seen just in a competition sort as far as the market goes is that it is still the place people go to wash trucks, wash motorcycles. It's where they go if they have an odd-sized vehicle, strange vehicle, or if they super love their vehicle. Yeah. So we've been able to really keep people going to those in-bay automatic self-serve models by targeting those parts of the community, those ones who love their vehicles so much, have a weird vehicle, or if they want to clean a motorcycle.
How do you identify those people?
Just based on analytics. So if we start off with anybody starting just a social media campaign, let's say they're not doing anything, just throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks, taking those numbers, rolling it into the next, making decisions based on who's seeing it, where they're going, and we use a lot of the data for what vehicles are available in their community, what is the most sold vehicle. When you're setting up a Facebook ad, you can target specific vehicle owners, motorcycle owners. That data is readily available, and you can hone in any ad to target those things.
Cool. Well, we kind of talked about something super technical there. Let's go back a little bit. We'll hit rewind. Can you tell me what the most common question that you get when you're setting up a website for a car wash?
It always used to be, what is a URL DNS? But what we've gotten the most is, like just this past month, is this a scam? Is this a scam? Are there any hidden costs? How long does it take to build a website? One we get a lot is, do I have to write it myself?
Oh, really?
Nobody wants to write it, but that's fine. We just write everything. So whenever we're building a website, we just write everything, get it as close to being done as possible, because it's so much easier to edit than it is to come up with new stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll just be like, this is a giraffe car wash or whatever. I'll just make up silly stuff because that silly stuff catches people's eye, and then they read through and they actually edit their websites. But that URL versus DNS one, that for years, that was a big question. So your URL is like www, what is your guys'? Babcox.com. And I tried to explain it as in your website is like a vehicle, and that's a parking space, but you have to rent it. So you're taking your website and parking it in this parking space and paying for that parking space like it's a big city. So we have to have both things. So you buy your URL, you rent it out, you kind of own it, but you kind of don't. And it might gain value, it might not. It might be a great digital asset, it might not be. Those things have been changing so quickly, it's hard to see where that will be. I'm guessing it's going to keep increasing in value in the same way we see with property, and that we're going to have like carwash.com is probably going to be like $1 million to purchase someday.
Well, do you know who has carwash.com?
Who has it?
We do.
You do?
Carwash.com is professional car washing and detailing's website.
No way.
Yeah.
How much is it worth?
I don't know.
A bazillion?
It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Well, I shouldn't say that. A bazillion, I think we could come to terms. I'm not sure how big a bazillion is, but
I think it's right over trizillion.
Trizillion?
Yeah.
Okay, deal.
When we make our bazillion, trizillion dollars.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with websites. I mean, websites are always changing, and the technology is always changing, and the things customers want on the website's always changing, and the data that you can get from your website's always changing.
Yeah.
Tell me some best practices that that our car wash owner audience can do right now. Like, what are some things they need to be doing right now?
My favorite project right now is so PDQ early on, when they would sell a laser wash, they would sell a website with their laser wash. And so we'll get these websites from the early 90s, mid 90s, and they are just text, maybe a graphic, maybe a button, a logo at the top, no navigation, nothing. Or the navigation is just a set of, it just text with links on it. I love taking those websites and bringing it into the modern day. Mm-hmm. It's like, I guess, a car wash glow up. Yeah. And it's just really fun to take those. Like, they were amazing at the time. Like, I don't want to knock them. Like, that was such a big deal. But they have so much history already just in the search history because they've been around 20 years. That website has just been out there live. And then you take it and bring it into 2025 using the new metadata techniques. So what we do, it's called white hat SEO. It's just all the rules that Google puts out there. To have a website, you need your privacy policy, terms and conditions, your 404 page. Make sure you meet all those requirements, and then just jazz it up from there. We do a lot. I love the SVG files. Those are my new favorite thing. They're so small, they're crisp. I've always worked in vector because it just works really well in the car wash industry. And to finally be able to put a really good vector image on a website is just makes it small, makes it fast, makes it beautiful. I love that so much. So if I were to say for anybody, if they were to do like just one thing on their website, go through, check your file size, try to make it as small as possible. But if you're going to do, well, maybe that would be the second thing. I changed my mind. That's the second thing you do. First thing, go make sure you have your metadata set up. Because not only Google, but the ACL also recommends or requires that everything is labeled so anybody can use your website. So go through and check your images, make sure everything has a title, a description, and if it has a link, that it's going to the right spot. And to do that, you're just kind of clicking down, clicking through your site, making sure it does have that. And in addition to each image having that information, pages should have that information as well. You'll see it listed as metadata, meta title, meta description. In the olden days, it used to be called keywords, but that's kind of obsolete now. But you can still fill things with your keywords, but there's no guarantee it's going to be used in search results. But make sure that your website has all that information, because you don't want to be stifled just because you're not following the rules. Yeah. It's cheap, it's free, it's a great way to get to the top of the search results, is just following the rules that Google puts out there. And they change them every year. All the time they're changing. When there's a big update, like when Google Core Vitals came out, like we had 2 websites go down because so many changes had made them obsolete. For us, we kind of guarantee that. I just went through and updated all of it and made sure that it works on the new platforms. Nice. Yeah, I've been doing websites for so long that it's very second nature to me. It's my favorite thing to do, absolutely. As our company grows, it's one of the things I miss working on the most, is being able to put out a new website. It's my favorite.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Well, let's go back to social media. Social media is kind of like the wild, wild west. I mean, there's a million different things that you can do on social media. What do car washes need to focus on, and how can they really facilitate their teams if they have multiple locations to kind of work together?
First off, make sure you have a page. And just like in the 90s and early 2000s, how everybody want to be in yellow pages. Like, social media is your yellow pages now. Google Maps is your yellow pages. Having a basic website is, like, in order to have that kind of presence in your community outside of your signage, you just need to exist on those platforms first. If you don't have the time to manage and set up and run a campaign. People are going to say that's not okay, but it is okay. It is okay just to exist. Make sure your hours are correct, your address is correct, your phone number goes to a person, or I guess an AI person, because we have those now.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there, or car washes, that just don't even have a social media account. We have Blue Sky is a new social media platform. Anytime a new one goes in, just make sure you have your name. Go on there, log in, grab your name. It doesn't matter if you're not active on there right now. You might want to be someday. And you might want to make sure that you can be you instead of somebody pretending to be you.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, baseline, that is where to start. Some people will turn their noses up at Pinterest. They won't want a platform on there, but we've found that car washers search for images of equipment, chemicals, all that kind of stuff. So having your car wash on Pinterest gets really good numbers. So if you don't have one, go set one up. It's not just crafts.
Yeah.
It's still crafts, which are great, but it's not just crafts.
2 days ago, we had a car dealer in here that sells Hondas, and I was amazed. He does, Pinterest is like his best performing social media. And I mean, nobody's buying Hondas on Pinterest, but it's converting for him. He said, I would have never guessed it. He said, if I hadn't talked to my customers, I would have never known that Pinterest was the place. But it's
surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
We work with Arcadian Solutions, and we just set theirs up a couple months ago, and they're getting really good numbers on some of their new products. Like, their products have always been great and exist, but like those numbers that come from Pinterest are really surprising with the click through to the website.
Yeah. So we're going to shift gears one more time. I know that you help with menu design and come at it from you use some psychology in order to drive customers to select the options that the car wash wants them to select. Can you talk to us a little bit about, like how do you approach a project like that?
This we were just talking about yesterday too. It keeps coming up. There are some really great menus out there and great menu products. I love the LED menus. They're so slick. The new, well, I guess it's not new, but the ability to bend metal into any shape has been really great too. But you can make the best menu ever and still not have people selecting the wash you want them to, just by what's on your menu, how it's set up, how it's designed, and if it's appealing. Your menu creates trust with your customer. And if it matches your brand, you're going to have more sales. If it's a totally different color than the rest of your wash, it's going to look like a scam. People think a little bit the way that they shop online. Even if it's in person, they'll shop very similar. So if you're on a website and you click through to something to purchase something, and that next website doesn't have the same logo, different address, looks totally different, you're going to be like, oh, this is a scam. Chinese government's going to get my address. You're going to click off of that. You're not going to purchase something unless you're looking for a disaster of some sort to your finances. But it's like that in real life too. So if you have a menu and it's generic and everything at your car wash is blue and that menu is red, it's going to feel like a scam. It's going to feel like what's on there was just a template or something that somebody grabbed, and that's not the actual chemicals or conditioners that you're getting on your vehicle. Lots of customers will just choose the best. Lots of customers will just choose the cheapest. And you're going to get those people no matter how you design, but anybody who chooses that middle of the line wash with just a little bit of design, a shift, or cleaning up, like removing a lot of the stuff from menus. I know we want to put absolutely everything on our menus because we offer that. We've put so much thought into it. We've carefully dialed in our chemistry that we want to show the world. But if there's more stuff on your menu, there's going to be less decision or longer decision. And the quicker you can get somebody to make that decision and in the wash, that's more money for you at the end of the day. So cleaning up that menu, simplifying it, just will help that decision happen faster. And if you do it in the right way, it will get people towards the top one. A really simple thing is to use red text on your numbers. You're not allowed to do that in Europe, but right now in the United States, that's not illegal. So a number with red around it always looks like a deal, always looks like it's on sale, always looks like a discount of some sort, because what color are sale signs? They're all red. So we still think that way. So if your top wash has a little bit of red in it, it will help people go towards that one. If it has, you build up. And we all know that, like your good, better, best kind of situation, that your good has maybe 2 things listed, your better has 3 things listed, your top one has something really big, and then everything else that everything else has, but something has to be big, whether it be your graphene, your ceramic. Maybe you have an otter car wash and there's just a really happy looking otter right next to that one.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways to do it and to build on your brand. But the best thing is size, shape, color, simplify it down to those things, because all of that translates to something in a brain. It's not just design, it's a decision, and you can go through and clean that up and kind of influence the way people think.
Well, I got to ask you a little bit about your career path, because you started in the military and now you're doing, design and websites for car washes. Like, I don't see, how did those 2 things connect? Like, how did you get from military to car washes?
Well, I think my first job before that was I grew up on a farm, so there's a lot of poop shoveling. Oh. Then Menards, like the traditional Wisconsin kid path. I think everybody works at Menards at some point. But once it came time for me to start my career, it was in the military. But I was in the Navy, and I was a cryptologist, and I specialized in Morse code, which I know doesn't sound like a thing you specialize in, but but I did. And I worked on some of the largest computers you've ever seen, and they would run most of the computers underneath the floor, and it was extremely cold. So with those very large systems and learning Morse code, I think that brought me into other types of coding and working on computers. After I got out of the military, I worked in hospitality for a while, clothing industry, all that stuff. But it was when I started working for in the automotive space is the first time I didn't get bored. Everything else I could learn so quickly that I was just bored very, very fast. And with working with Saturn, BMW, all the Toyota, there's so many rules with branding and where things go, what needs to be covered up. I got to work on some of the Toyota Jan advertisements when she was pregnant. So she had a photo shoot, she was pregnant, and the rule was we had to cover up her belly and make it look like she wasn't pregnant. But the logo can only touch this and not be this and not be this background. We worked with Mitsubishi. That has so many rules to their logo, how it can be used, the colors. It got to be very boring very fast. Then I worked for a dealership, and they wanted me to do the decal on the front of their wash. It's just the dealership's car wash, but they wanted it just to match their brand, and there was no rules. I got to do whatever I wanted. It was like the Wild West. It was so fun. So when a job became available at Wash World, I was like, should I, shouldn't I? I was really on the fence, and I applied and I got it, and turns out the entire car wash industry was like that. There's very little rules, very little patents, very little trademark. I could do whatever I want and build what I wanted. It was so fun. It was the first industry that I got into that I didn't learn everything right away. I didn't get bored. As soon as I knew quite a lot about a certain type of equipment, I would learn how to write it for B2B and then B2C, and that was a really fun dynamic to be able to convert that information to different kinds of customers. So I'm 8 years in, and I still have so much to learn. I'm currently working on a book about the invention of the IBA and where it came from, how it started, and I've been working on this for 5 years, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get done. My weakest link right now in the book, as far as my research, is rollover. So if anybody knows somebody with rollover information, that's what I need right now, because there is not a lot of patents for me to work off of.
Well, with this audience, maybe we can get you an answer to that question.
That would be amazing. So that's just a passion project, and I've been putting together a timeline. I'm really good with that gantry style. I have pretty, especially that PDQ early era, super good with that. It's that Ryco early era. I have very little, and I could use a lot of help.
Well, that's a call to you guys. If anybody has any information for Mel, reach out. So Mel, is there anything more you'd like to share with our audience today?
There's a lot of things. I just love talking about car wash industry stuff in general, but I come from a design background. That's where I started with stuff, and my degree is an art degree. But which is one of those things that people always said would be very useless. But I use my GI Bill for an art degree, and I've used it in the car wash industry and built an entire career around it. But what I am so proud of is the designs and being able to take things that exist in real life and making them a little better, a little squeakier, a little cleaner, getting people to trust things based off of the way things look. I have studied symbols quite extensively in school and worked a lot with like what certain things mean or how different symbols, colors communicate, and being able to take that into the car wash industry and kind of bring everything forward. What I love so much about all the trade shows and stuff is that everybody brings each other forward. And just since the time I started, things look really amazing. Like going to ICA is like going to Disneyland sometimes, like the colors, the lights. We got to bring our kids to Nashville last year, Mike and I, and they said it was like trick-or-treating.
Oh, all the like mints and candies and pens.
Mints, candies, pens, stuffed animals.
Hats, yeah.
2 of them got little frog turtle things to clip on their backpacks. There was so much stuff.
Nice.
It was really fun, but for me, I just love going around and that we made that booth that turned out so good. Oh, the floor didn't arrive. Yeah. But seeing those things come together at ICA or at the wash, we work on a project base. So I don't demand that somebody get all their signs done at one time, because that doesn't make sense. It's not cost effective. I like to try and reuse whatever we can, because that's just saves a lot of money. Relabel things, resticker things, put up a new sign over the top of it when we can. It's not always possible, but to take something and start off with the logo, add the colors, redo the in-base signage, and when you get to the end of that and how clean and beautiful it looks, and you see the numbers go up, and then they become a real big part of their community. I love when car washes start working with their local schools. I think that is such a good thing to do, because then you're getting your new drivers, and then those new drivers' parents, and then because you'll have some sort of, they're probably trying to raise money for their school, then you also get all the grandparents know about your car wash. Yeah. Like those car wash fundraisers, if you set them up like, you can come to the wash, spend a whatever, and $1 or $2 goes to the school. That grabs so many different levels of your community. And I love when a car wash gets to the point where they can partner with their school. It automatically builds that trust, and you get multiple levels and generations participating in washing your car there. And I feel like that is a big power when it comes to design, is building that kind of community and trust.
Great. Well, thank you for coming in today, Mel.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again sometime in the future.
Sounds good.
And thank you for taking the time to join us for this Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, our guest has been Mel Ohlinger from OhmCo. We hope to see you again on a future episode.